Welcome back to Marveled Media Podcast, where we talk about all things media, especially Marvel. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-host, Alex.
And welcome to episode 6 of Gold or Fold, where Blake and I give our thoughts on whether a film or an aspect of that film was good if it was trash, or where it ranks for us. So today we'll be ranking our top 7 franchises that aren't superhero related. So obviously that includes anything MCU, DC, anything. So no superhero stuff at all. So with that said, I'll let Blake start us off with his number 7 on his list.
All right, so my number 7 is actually low because I haven't watched this trilogy back for a while. So because of that, I just put them down low, basically as like an honorable mention. I am going to rewatch it soon. I know for sure because I want to. But I'm going with the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the Dawn, Rise, and War of Planet of the Apes. I think they're phenomenal. Like I said, it's been a while since I've watched them, so I couldn't put them above other ones that I've either seen recently or have seen at least one of those movies recently. So I had to just kind of put it down low. I mean, still it's top 7. It beat out a lot of other franchises. But, I mean, I really enjoy these. I think, what's his name? Andy Serkis, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Yep. He does, like, the motion capturing as he does with a bunch of stuff. But he does it for Caesar, the lead monkey, ape, whatever you want to say. He's phenomenal. I mean, especially Planet or Dawn and War are, like, very centered around him. The first one is kind of centered more around James Franco's character, but War especially is like his movie as Caesar, and he's just phenomenal in it. I think the story is interesting. Like I said, it's been a while since I've watched them, so I couldn't bring myself to put them above others I have watched recently. But I think it's an amazing trilogy.
I completely agree, dude. It's definitely a really good franchise. And just to add a little bit to what you were saying earlier, yeah, Andy Serkis killed it. He didn't really have much in the first one. It was kind of like the movie is titled. It was the rise of the Planet of the Apes. So it was kind of like where it all began. So he still wasn't fully, evolved. A big part of that movie was, still with Caesar growing up. And then once he finally gets that serum that kind of, I don't know, makes him smarter, then that's when, the actual thing kicks it off. And that just continues on in Dawn and War. Again, Rise is still a really good kind of beginning to the actual trilogy itself, but right where it really hits home is definitely Dawn and War. War finished it off really well. I think it got an award. I can't remember. I feel like it definitely at least won the special effects award that year. I mean, because it was insane.
I don't know off the top of my head.
It's been a while, but when it came out, I mean, obviously the actor himself is really well known for doing a bunch of motion capture work, but as the character evolved, he actually started to actually more like act. Obviously he's acting out the movements, but now he's actually talking and he's actually having like a full-on story in 2 and 3.
And he has like facial expressions to go along with it and everything.
Exactly. So it feels very grounded, which is a really different take compared to the other Planet of the Apes movies. I don't know. I've seen like 2 or 3 of them, but yeah, obviously they're older and they don't compare to this trilogy here. So it's kind of unfair to put those 2 in comparison. But yeah, no, for sure, right. Dude, it's a really good trilogy, and I'm actually glad you had it up here because I actually have it up here too. I just not at 7. So
yeah, like I said, I just had to do it out of respect for the other ones that I've either watched more recently or at least seen one of them more recently or whatever. But I'll let you go with your number 7 here.
Okay, so my number 7 is I haven't watched this in a while either. But growing up, I used to watch this trilogy a lot, mainly because my mom and dad liked this trilogy, and especially the first two movies, and they would play it like very frequently. So I still remember a good portion of each movie here and there, and that would be the Mummy Trilogy. Started off in 1999 with Brendan Fraser. Dude, those movies were fucking great. And looking back on those, especially one and two, they're just like they're a mixture of like an Indiana Jones type of movie, action adventure. It had comedic moments. I mean, the three leads, Rick O'Connell, Evelyn and her brother Jonathan were like they all had their charm. It was great. I liked it. And I like I said, I haven't watched it in a while, but I still like get flashes and glimpses of certain scenes, you know, that kind of stuck out with me. But definitely at 7 because I haven't watched it in a while, and the third one wasn't as great. I guess it was I think it was like 7 or 8 years after the second one, so they kind of took like a break, and then they came back with I believe it's Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. So it was like Chinese mummy mythology, so they kind of I don't know strayed away from the Egyptian one that was established in the first two, which is fine, but they I think they recast Rachel Weisz as Evelyn with some other actress. So I don't know, that kind of pulled me out of it, but it was still, regardless, it's still a really fun trilogy. And I don't know, it's kind of like mindless action that I haven't watched it in maybe 2 years, but I still remember when I used to watch it more often, it was always a fun time. So just for that reason, I have it there at number 7.
I mean, you just said mindless action, which perfectly leads into my number 6. Because if you want to talk about a trilogy that is mindless action, The Expendables is my number 6.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
okay.
There is no good plot here, but Sylvester, I mean, they literally just have, throughout the trilogy here, there is pretty much every big name actor or actress is a part of these movies, basically, from that time. Obviously led by Sylvester Stallone and Jason Statham for the 3, but I mean, yeah, they're just fun action movies. They do not have a good plot. That's really it. It's just a fun movie, fun trilogies. I love all 3. I actually, like, probably 2 weeks ago, I came home and my dad was like watching like the one of them. The first one was on TV and it was like coming to the end of it. So I watched the rest of it. And then right after it was Expendables 2. So him and I were watching that. And then like towards the end of it, he like went to bed. And so I finished it. And then Expendables 3 was on right after it. Watched that too. So I just watched almost all 3 of them just in one sitting one day, just randomly because they were on TV. Yeah, they're just, like I said, just great action. Kind of funny at times, but that's about it. It's just a pleasure. That's all it is.
Hey, that sometimes that's all anybody needs is just to pop in a movie and just, you know, kind of enjoy it and just go along for the ride. You don't have to like analyze anything or psychoanalyze, you know, the plot or anything like that. So it's great. I don't know if I'm correct on this, but I think they're in the process of making a 4th one.
Please no. Let it end. Just let it end. You have a good trilogy.
Hey, so
just call it a career. Just it's done.
So next time you can watch a 4th one, like back to back.
No, just we're good. Trilogy, good number. Leave it alone.
Which, funny you should say that, leads directly into my number 6, which I feel should have ended at a trilogy, but they kept on going, and I think they're now at like 5 or 6. And that'd be the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Dude, talk about like funny. Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow is fucking great. I love him as that character. Phenomenal, dude. It's great. He gives it 110% every movie, regardless if it's, you know, like the best one or kind of mediocre, which the, you know, 2 more recent ones were, but still, regardless, dude. I love that movie or movies, especially the first 3.
Right.
Curse of the Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest, and At World's End. Those three were the perfect trilogy. I feel like it definitely should have ended at 3. Regardless, though, if they come out with another Pirates and Johnny's attached to it, I'm still gonna go watch it because just for that reason, that is worth.
I mean, he better be attached to it. He
admission.
has to be. I mean,
yeah, well, big studios don't agree with the fans sometimes. So, but whatever the case is, this franchise itself, the Pirates movies, are always a blast to watch. I recently watched Dead Man's Chest like 2 weeks ago, so it was a fun reminder of the movie watching experience that I had
what they were
when I was younger. Yeah, what they were, but regardless, I have it at number 6. So
right, and the villains in them are just fun. You know what I mean? It's not like
Barbossa, obviously Davy Jones, and I think I kind of forget. See, that's the one problem I have is that after 3, it's not Davy Jones anymore. It's some other character. I think it's Blackbeard or something. It kind of lost me.
Right.
And then the last one was like Captain Salazar. It was a little weird to endure like the last 2, not gonna lie, but hey, the trilogy is still good, so I'm not gonna complain.
No, I 100% agree, and that's exactly why Pirates of the Caribbean are my number 5. Because, like you said, the trilogy to start was really good. Obviously, we just talked about, next 2 were I know there has been a bunch of delays with the whole, if there is going to be a 6th one with the studio, and then Johnny Depp had his whole thing with Amber Heard that he got kicked out of it, and Johnny Depp then got blackballed basically from, Hollywood, which was unfair, as we have learned. He didn't do anything. So I hope if they are going to make a 6th Pirates, if you don't have him be the star, if it's not a Jack Sparrow-led Pirates, I mean, I don't know how much I really care about it. It's very clear he cares about the character. Like, he dresses up as Jack Sparrow and goes to, like, Children's Hospital and does, like, all this stuff just because he wants to. I mean, even at the one Universal or whatever one is in Hollywood, like, there'd be random days Johnny Depp would just show up in Jack Sparrow and, like, want to do stuff, like, at the park. Like, he loves that character. I know there was push when he first started of how flamboyant and the way he acted and talked, they didn't like it, but he was like, this is what I want this character to be, which they just obviously did the right thing.
Roles.
I mean, when you think of Johnny Depp, for at least, I would say probably from anyone 25 and younger, I would guess if you say Johnny Depp, what's the first thing you think of? More than likely, they're going to say Jack Sparrow, Pirates, something like that. It's he was a phenomenal character, and that's why I had him at number 5. So I'll let you go with your 5.
So my number 5 is the Harry Potter franchise. I love it, dude. It's like, I don't know. I appreciated the fact that they kept the cast from beginning to end. You kind of saw them grow up, and it felt like you were really growing up with them. You
definitely saw them grow up.
Oh yeah, and I started watching when I think around the 4th or 5th one came out, and then that's when I started to start from the beginning and then watch it. And then every time a new one came out, I was always there. It was always fun. I mean, was there a few downers here and there? Sure, but the highlights were high. To this day, I think I still say that my favorite is probably Goblet of Fire. If not, obviously Deathly Hallows Part 2 for the main reason, it was the climax of everything. Everything came.
I don't know. Honestly, I think
great. I loved it.
I think Part 1's better than Part 2.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, I feel like everybody has the same answer. Goblet of Fire is pretty much everyone's favorite, I feel like. But I think Part 1 or Half-Blood Prince, I think those two for me always battle for the 2 spot.
Okay, that's fair enough. But personally, I feel like Half-Blood Prince, while at first I didn't like it as much as the rest of them, it definitely is not. Damn. I don't know. It feels like it's not the worst sometimes, but when it goes up against the other seven, it's kind of hard to put it above the other ones. Maybe the first one sometimes, but the first one has such a charm to it that I feel like I can't put it above that one.
I think one and two
Chamber
are
of
kind of
Secrets
meh.
was great.
I think
Chamber
they're
of
both
Secrets
meh.
was actually pretty good. Well, yeah, I guess, but it's kind of hard because the first two were definitely catered to a more younger audience, and that's kind
Well,
of
yeah,
how
they were so much younger in those ones. It's
yeah.
insane the
So
difference and their
yeah.
ages from the first two to the third one. Wild.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then I guess that kind of makes sense because you're like your main cast, your main characters are young, so like the film and the tone itself has to be more lighthearted.
Right.
And then once you get to like when they're 13 in Prisoner of Azkaban, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Then you start seeing a turn, and then obviously Goblet of Fire started to go darker. Five or the Phoenix was like pretty much. It started like to get really dreary, and then after that, it was like pretty much like peak depression for the main
Right.
heroes. It wasn't anymore like, oh look, we're so glad to go back to Hogwarts, and not now they're like sometimes they're not even at Hogwarts anymore. They're like doing their own quests because it's for the greater good. So for a good portion of their young lives, if you realize it, they really didn't get to enjoy their childhood because it obviously them being friends with Harry and him being connected to the biggest bad that there is. It was kind of hard for them to live normal lives, especially Harry. But I mean, still, the movie trilogy. The movie franchise itself. It still has a close place in my heart for it. It's great. I love it. Goblet of Fire is like the ultimate comfort movie. You can just make a bucket of popcorn and just sit and watch it. It feels like you're getting a bunch of information stuck into one movie. Big action sequences. Obviously, the Tri-Wizard tournament was like great. I loved it. It kind of added like another aspect to the film that we haven't seen in the last three up until that point. I don't know if that's the same way you felt when you watched.
I mean, I do just have to say that I think that is so funny that there's spectators for that, because in every event besides the first one, you didn't see anything. And even the first one, as soon as Harry and the dragon broke free, you didn't see anything of what happened. Then obviously, people showed up for the underwater one. How did that make any sense? You see them all jump in, and then you just wait for them to come out. That's it. That's all you get to see. And then obviously the maze, you don't see anything in the maze.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, when we did our top 10 movies, I was debating if I wanted to have Goblet of Fire in there. It was a tough one for me to have to leave out or if I put it in, but I'll let you go with your number 4 now.
So my number 4 is the franchise that you already said, which is the Planet of the Apes. I think I already said what I would have to say about that franchise. Goated, Caesar, great protagonist, perfect ending to the story. I have no complaints.
Right. I think, that is a very good trilogy. Beginning to end, you get the full story. I feel like there's not too many big plot holes or too many big questions left unanswered or that felt rushed. All in all, I felt it was a pretty well thought out trilogy.
Plus, Matt Reeves directed the shit out of Dawn and War. Holy crap!
So for my number 4, again, I put this one on, and when it started, it was like 6, I think, and somehow it dropped down to 7. At one point, I almost kicked it out, and now it's at 4. I don't know why. For some reason, my number 4 is Mission Impossible. That's crazy. I like these movies. Movies. I don't know. For some reason, sometimes I'm like, they're not that good. And other times I'm like, they're pretty fun though. And then it's always like, what insane real stunt is Tom Cruise gonna do for this movie? So it's like it's making its way on the list. It got up to number 4. It's been going on for probably almost 2 decades.
Oh yeah, no. I think it started in 98. I think, or
I was gonna say,
97
I don't
was the
remember
first
if
one.
it started in like 98 or in 2000. Either way, it's been going on for over 2 decades. There's plans for another one, of course, because why not keep making them?
96.
That's wild.
96 was when the first one came out. 2000 was the second one, and then obviously it's still going on.
So what? That's like
now.
24-ish years, something like that. 26 years. That's
Around
insane.
that, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're fun movies. They always have, some completely over the top villain and some wild stunt that Tom Cruise feels is necessary for him to do in real life for the film. There's another one on the way that's been delayed, obviously, with COVID, and I can't wait for that to come out because I'll definitely see it. I just, it's a fun franchise.
I agree, because I have that at number 3 for me. I don't know why I have it this high, but I don't know. I recently rewatched probably my favorite one, Ghost Protocol. I love Ghost Protocol. It's so good. And it's a personal favorite of mine. I think the only reason I don't have it higher, honestly, is number 2. Let's see, how many are there? 6 right now. Yeah, there's 6 out right now, and out of the 6, I think only 1 I don't really like that much. There's a few that are okay, but the ones that I really like are really good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first and second are kind of meh to me.
Yeah. Once you get to 3, and then obviously 4 is goated for me. It is. It's great. I love it. So that's all I had to say about Mission Impossible. So you're number 3, right?
Yeah, I'm on my 3. My number 3 are all very... They're easily... They are tough to order for me, 1 through 3, because I love all of these franchises. I kind of hadn't let the sentimental type feel take over for me, so that's why this one's 3 and the other 2 are 2 and 1. Number 3 is the John Wick trilogy, soon to be 4. I mean, this is Expendables, but with way better action in choreography for the fighting, plus actually a pretty interesting plot line because they've all picked up basically right where the last one ended. The next one picks up. I mean, and plus it's Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah,
who doesn't love Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
The action is just phenomenal in every single one of them. He just completely goes at it. He does so much training. And then the third one we saw Halle Berry join, and she was phenomenal. She had the dogs, which were dope. How trained they were and everything. I think this trilogy soon to have, hopefully the 4th will be out this year. I don't know how everything's been delayed. But plus Keanu Reeves just made 2 movies recently, so who knows with how busy he's been, but I love John Wick. I think they're phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. And I do have it on this list, but it's not where you think I have it at though. So I'll let you keep on going.
It's 1 or 2.
Oh, that's right. We only have 2.
Yeah, we're down to your top 2.
It's top 2, but it's not 2.
Well, go ahead with your number 2. Let's hear your number 2.
So, my 1 and 2, I feel like they're really good. Bro. I honestly though, in terms of rewatchability, I feel like that's the only thing that put John Wick above my number 2. Go ahead if you have a point to add.
If your number 2 is not what I think it is, I'm going to attack you.
Why?
Go ahead. What is it?
Star Wars, dude.
Okay. For a second there, I was kind of thinking it may not be. And I was like, this dude who says Star Wars is so good, if he doesn't even put it on his list, I was going to go at you.
No, it's Star Wars. Star Wars is my number 2. And I love the movies. They're great.
The first 6,
this was and then I actually somewhat liked The Force Awakens. Everything after that, I don't know about that. But if we're counting franchises, do we also count if they have spin-off shows or no?
I mean, I guess if you want to. I feel like this was more of a movie-based, not TV series.
Right, but like if you, when you think of like the idea of franchises then spiral into
I mean,
connecting
yeah,
TV shows as well. So I guess regardless, though, it's still not gonna top John Wick at number one. For the simple fact is there are six, and I know that makes a franchise, but and there are definitely highlights. But what it really came down to is not the acting, is not the action or anything like that. It's literally the fact that sometimes I feel like in terms of rewatchability, I feel like I can easily pop in John Wick 1, 2, or 3 at any moment. Whereas for any Star Wars movie, it feels like, well, there are really long movies. And I don't feel like, I mean, obviously probably Empire would be the only one that I would like consider putting on like on a rotation. But other than that, the other ones, some of them, I'm not gonna lie, they are like a slow burn. But when they get to the action, it's great. But yeah, honestly, for me, it just came down to the rewatchability of 1 and 2 for me. And Star Wars, like Blake has mentioned, has kind of gone down in quality in recent years. So but that's still, to me, it doesn't take away from what was all already done before it. So that's why it's at number two. But obviously, Wick, and not enough can be said about John Wick, dude. It's so good.
goated.
I mean, I don't remember even watching the first one in theaters. I remember that my dad went to the Walgreens near my house, have like a red box. This is back when we used to go in and rent movies a lot, and he just decided to pick out John Wick. As soon as he popped in the movie and we started watching it, I instantly fell in love with the movie. It was great. And then when I found out that they were gonna make a sequel to this, and then my dad, this is probably like, it has a personal kind of attachment to me for that reason, is that it's kind of like the movies that me and my dad just like watched. Like we can easily just both sit down and watch it, and it's like a fun time. I enjoy these movies. So when 2 and then 3 were announced, we were there day one in theaters. It was great. Personal favorite of mine, I think number 1 is still the best one. And
Absolutely.
2 and 3 can flip flop, but I feel like 3 just took it to a whole nother level in terms of the action sequences, fighting like the bulletproof vest army that they sent in, and then they're like, okay, if we now with the switch to armor piercing bullets,
Yeah,
and then
switch
just
to the
go
shotgun
crazy.
rounds.
I was like, damn, yeah. I was like, oh my god, it's great. I love the John Wick movies, so they are my number 1. But what is your number 1?
Well, I didn't get to say my number 2.
Oh, you didn't get to say your number 2 or 1.
Nah.
Okay.
So my number 2 is the Harry Potter franchise. For me, these are a lot more different because I never watched or read any of the books ever. Like I watched the whole series for the first time about a year ago. Because I knew Harry Potter was a thing, obviously, but like I would see the commercials for them come out. Like I remember like the part 1, part 2 commercials and stuff, and I was just like, I don't care about Harry Potter. Like who cares? Whatever. So I had never seen any of them, or even like I honestly had no idea what happened in any of the movies because I just didn't care about that world. And like a year ago, my girlfriend's mom is like huge into the Harry Potter franchise. And one day I said, like, yeah, I've never seen anything Harry Potter. And she was like, we have to watch them all now. Like, we just have to. So, like, in a span of, like, a week, we watched the entire franchise. Like, every day after work, I would go to her house and we'd watch one. And then it'd be, like, because I would go after work. So it was already late. We'd watch one. Then, like, whatever. Next day I'd come over after work. We'd watch one. And I was just instantly hooked on them. I was like, why did I not watch these? But part of me was happy because I just got to binge them all, basically. Like in a span of a week, yeah. I got the entire franchise, which was cool. So yeah, ever since I watched them, like we've rewatched it quite a lot since then. Usually we'll just randomly pick, like sometimes we'll just pick one, like we'll just watch like Goblet of Fire, or every now and then like we'll watch Prisoner of Azkaban and be like, you know what, let's just continue the franchise from here and just watch all of them in order and like finish it out. And we've done that a bunch since like that year has passed. But Yeah, I don't know why I never liked it. Like growing up, I was just like, Wizards, who cares? But it's a goated franchise for sure.
It is, and it just takes you to a whole different world. And I mean, it's rich with a bunch of stuff. I agree, dude. It's obviously it made my list, so I mean, to have it at your number two, and I get it for your reasons is great. So, yeah, definitely a little bit of a surprise. I didn't know that you had it that high. So,
Nah, they're dope. And I think one thing that's cool about it is the beginning of it. I think it's Warner Brothers who makes it, right? I
yeah.
believe. So like the Warner Brothers logo comes and like shows at the beginning of every movie. Every movie that gets darker and darker. And the first one like it's bright colored and has like a scenic background, and as the franchise goes on, and like the last one it's just like black, just Warner Brothers. Which I just thought was like a cool
black,
thing.
and it's like all like
in.
rusting and falling apart.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just like added to the the feel of the franchise, because like you said, you see them grow up and the movies continue with that of like the first one, like you said, they're so young, it's very much like a kid's movie, blah blah. And as it goes on, obviously it gets darker and darker, and like that little title scene kind of matching and like doing the same, I thought was a pretty cool feature of them. And yeah, Harry Potter's dope. I mean, Harry himself, pathetic, little bitch, but the franchise is dope.
I am so sick of you and all of your fucking shit. Fuck you.
Wow, hot take there, but okay.
It is not. Without Hermione, Harry would have died in like the first one. Harry was such an idiot, bro. He is so stupid.
He is, but I guess that's what makes a good protagonist, is that they're not perfect. Like,
there's a difference from not being
died.
perfect and being an idiot. He's an idiot.
Oh, shut the fuck up, you fucking idiot.
Well, it's okay. He was also like, what, 10 years old?
Throughout the whole franchise, he's an idiot.
It is what it is.
Bro, Harry's
what
so
it is.
stupid. And then at the end, he gets the Elder Wand and he snaps it.
Yeah, dude, because
Why not help them rebuild Hogwarts first, and then you can snap the wand? Your school was just destroyed. They're using magic to rebuild it. You have the most powerful wand. It's your possession. You rightfully own it, which makes it more powerful. How about you don't be a dick and you rebuild the school, and then you can snap it, Harry?
Nah, dude. Guy was gassed.
Also, a fun fact that I caught myself, so I just want to give myself props for that. In the first part one of Deathly Hallows, after Ron uses the sword to destroy like the locket, he says the wrong amount of Horcruxes that have been destroyed.
Really?
I was watching it the first time, and he says something like, well, that's 4, or like 3. He says like 4 to go or 3 to go when it's the wrong amount. And he said it the first time, and I was like, wait, what did he say? And like they rewinded it. I was like, did I miss something? I thought they've only destroyed like 2 or 3. And he said like 3 to go, when really they'd only like destroyed 3. It was something weird like that. I just remember catching it, and then we like thought about it. He says the wrong number
On purpose.
They knew that they knew that there was 7 Horcruxes, and they had just destroyed like the 3rd one, and they say, oh, there's only 4 more, because they didn't know Harry was a Horcrux yet, so they didn't know he counted. So Ron says the wrong number in the movie. Look it up. I caught it the first time. I'm a genius. This is why you subscribe to the channel. In depth. And then my number 1 isn't even on your list at all, which I feel is blasphemy right now. Because if you didn't grow up with this franchise, if this didn't awaken you of what the perfect girl is, you're an idiot. The Transformers series.
Yeah. I mean, I think
phenomenal, bro. Obviously, take out Mark Wahlberg. Trash. Transformers is the best franchise. It's so good. Optimus Prime, goated. Megan Fox, goated. The soundtracks, Linkin Park coming in at the end of the movies, goated.
How many Transformers movies are there?
I believe there's 5 of them.
Like too many. If they would have ended at 3, it would have been great. But they recast Megan Fox.
Right, you have the first 3. The first 3 was Shia LaBeouf. The first 2 had Megan Fox. The third one they kicked her out, but it was still Shia LaBeouf. So like the first 3 are to me like the OG, like that's the trilogy. And then you had the resurgence with Mark Wahlberg. Which in all honesty, those ones aren't that bad. They're not great. They're definitely not on the level of the first ones. But they're not that bad. Like I easily have rewatched them since I've seen them on and been like, yeah, I'll turn this on because I got my boy Optimus. I'm good. Like you give me Bumblebee and Optimus, I don't care that it's Mark Wahlberg like doing his thing. Because at some point, Optimus Prime is going to give me the speech that 12-year-old me is going to be ready to go to war. And then Optimus is going to go out and just absolutely dummy some machines. And it's great.
No, they are great.
Optimus's speeches alone deserved to make the top 7 in your list. He is the greatest speech giver of our generation.
Yeah, probably.
All I'm saying is if right now you just cut and paste a bunch of like Optimus's speeches, boom, 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 okay? You get all of Ukraine together. You make them watch that. Russia's done by the weekend.
What the fuck was that?
Ukraine would go crazy.
Oh my god. Sure.
They're so good. I love that franchise, bro. Oh man.
Yeah, it is. It is a good franchise, but I mean, if we would have made a top 10, it would have made the top 10. It would have been probably at 8.
It should have been top 5. I would have allowed it to be your 5.
Yeah, well, my 5
That's just
was
insane.
Harry Potter, Mission Impossible, Planet of the Apes, Star Wars, and John Wick.
Guess what? Better.
Have I already rewatched them since? Yes, but in terms of rewatchability, I feel like John Wick I feel like it's just more rewatchable to me. Like obviously, not taking away from anything, especially that like original trilogy of Transformers. They're great. I mean, Megan Fox, my God.
Yeah, bro.
But
yeah,
and then they got rid of her for 3. I'm like, and then it kind of like that's where it kind of started to dip. You definitely saw the quality kind of started to dip there.
Yeah.
What's number 2? I think it's Revenge of the Fallen. There's some questionable dialogue in that one too, but I think my favorite one, if I had to like give them any props, for sure it would be the first one. The first one's so good. I like the original Transformers.
So good. Megatron is such a good villain, bro. He just doesn't die. He just keeps dipping when he's like, yeah, I'm about to lose this. All right, Starscream, you go fight Optimus. All right, he's definitely going to body you. I'm going to fly away, though, because, like, I'm not about to lose.
Like a coward.
So I'm a dip.
I don't know about you. That sounds like running away from losing.
Yeah. What do you mean, bro? Optimus is on the other side, you're losing. He dies and then comes back to life. He dies, and that's when the Fallen was like, oh, there's no more Primes left? Now I can take over, because only a Prime would be able to stop me, because they're just nuts. And Optimus is like, guess what? I'm back alive. Time to remind everybody that not only do I give the best speeches, but I body anybody with a sword, with a gun, doesn't matter. I'm going to turn it into my truck somehow, and I'm going to go crazy with this thing. He had a shield at one point. Transformers is great. I can't believe it's not top 7 for you.
No. Hey,
all right, well, that wraps up this episode.
Fair enough.
leave a comment down below if we missed any that you didn't feel, or if our orders are a little out of whack, like Alex missing the entire Transformers franchise and his. Make sure to follow along with our other social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Leave a like for the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.